That's a cracking t-shirt, isn't it? Yeah. There you go.
I mean, I only seen you guys for the first time at Freckfest. I'd obviously heard of you, and people were telling me, "Oh, you need to check out Culann." And I've got to say, I loved the set, and I got a copy of the album from you, so I did. And I went home and listened to it, and I was just blown away by the sheer quality of the music. And I see the head swelling already, so I do. And and this, what got me about the album, the songs all flowed. I mean, as a band, how do you work out what songs actually go on the album? And was it intentional that they would flow like that?
I think we wrote it not as, you know, we sat down and we write an album. Like, we recorded it in 3 different sessions. So, you know, we didn't want any filler on the album. We didn't want any songs that we didn't like, you know what I mean? So we actually spent probably more time than maybe a normal band would spend writing a song, because we wanted it to be perfect, you know. After us deciding that we were going to go and record the album, we made sure that all the songs were, you know, we were happy with. Because we didn't want anything that was, you know, maybe we would thought, oh, that's a kind of weak song there, yeah, that's not as good as that one. So I don't know, it's probably we approached it differently than maybe a lot of bands would, and we split it up into the 3 sessions, and it was good that way, because it gives you perspective. You go back and go, well, maybe we need to do a wee bit different in this section of a song, or maybe when we, you know, go back and it gets mixed and stuff like that, this needs to go up, because it gives you perspective. You mean, you're not in a studio for 10 days and the album's made, you know. It was like over 2 years, space of 2 years we recorded it, so I think that was I think it
wasn't 2 years hard at it.
No, it was spaced out. It was spaced out
because it's so expensive. You know, to go away and record it. If you want to do it really well, you've got to, you know, get it done right. And it costs so much money to go away and to do it right, you know.
I think another good thing that we had complete control when we came to mixing it.
Yeah, now that's very important, Greg, because it's your vision.
Yeah, me and Greg and Ross were actually living together at the time when it was getting mixed, so it was just an absolute marathon, just constantly mixing and trying new things, you know, overdubbing guitars and all. I mean, Greg can tell you about it, because
I mean I've talked to lots of singer-songwriters over the years. Only a few bands I've managed to chat to, and I'm always intrigued. The songwriting process, does everybody have input into that?
Aye, absolutely.
Yeah.
The way we done it was me and Greg paired off, and we generally get a wee kind of partnership when we write songs, and Ross and PJ, they pair off, and they seem to have a good rapport together. And no matter how they've went about it, once it comes into the kind of band arena, it becomes something totally different every time.
Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, everyone does pitch in, you know.
I mean, when you got the album all mixed, like you were saying there, you had total control over the mixing of the album. When you got the album all mixed and it was ready for pressing, and you just listened to it, what did you think? Did you think this is where we're at just now?
I was really impressed. You know, you never expected to sound as good as it did. I mean, it went to get mastered by John Astley, who's, I don't know, Greg can probably say more about this. He's done some of the big albums.
He's quite a big deal. He's done ABBA, he's done Led Zeppelin, The Who.
He remastered.
I love that. Yeah,
which is a huge deal.
Yeah. So I mean, he's just remastered the stuff for them, or did he work with them?
Well, no, I mean, he worked with The Who. I mean, he was the master on all the Who's
fantastic
stuff.
What I've got to ask you guys is what kind of music do you listen to when you're not working? Music you want to chill to, and music that might even influence you. PJ, hold on, it'll work better if I put your mics up.
That'll be good. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear
you. Sean, you should answer this first.
Answer what you like.
No, we can if you want.
Absolute garbage.
That's fair enough. Are we alright to cancel the rest of Sean's? Can you turn his mic down?
That's it, it's done.
It's I don't know, it's one of those things. For us as a band, like, influences vary, so I suppose we'll just tell you what we like, which is what you asked. So I should have just said anything like that, so we'll just rewind.
Okay.
Just now, what am I listening to? The kind of different sorts of stuff. I like a band. I've been listening to their album pretty much non-stop for about 6 months, from Edinburgh, called Miasma. A band that supported us on our Edinburgh gig. I seen them, in fact we played with them a couple of years ago, and I just thought they were brilliant. And after that I bought one of their songs on iTunes, and then bought the album, and I've just been listening to it non-stop, repeat. So it's called Feathered Feet, and they're just a really, really good sound, different sound, kind of jazzy in parts and obviously rocky in parts, but they're just really, really good musicians. Really good musicians, and massively underrated, I think, in Scotland anyway. They're really, really good live band.
I will check their music.
Yeah,
honestly,
I don't think you'd be disappointed. But that's been constantly. I was in holiday. I was listening to their album. I'm still listening to it in the car constantly.
Stuff, yeah. Sean, what about yourself?
I like some traditional stuff, some folky stuff. Big fan of Dick Gaughan. We're at the Tyree Music Festival there in the summer. Saw a really, really good band, kind of modern trad band, called Man Run. They were a revelation, absolutely brilliant. Kind of Gaelic, they sing a lot in Gaelic. But as far as the kind of rock side goes, been listening to a lot of this band, the Cardiacs, the last year. Me and Greg went to see Ocean Size a couple of years ago, and I was just looking up interviews with the lead singer Mike, and he said his favourite band was Cardiacs, and so many great artists cite this band as their biggest influence. So went and checked them out, and they're absolutely mental. They're really cool. Really experimental. They were about in the kind of 80s,
90s.
I have heard of them. I will not even say that I've heard any of the music, but I haven't.
It's really kind of psychedelic, kind of. It's mind blowing. You should check them out, man.
Ross's worst nightmare.
Yeah. I'm always up for a bit of psychedelia.
Aye.
So, Greg, what about yourself?
I've been listening to a lot of Queens of the Stone Age recently. It's a band I've always liked, but I just went back and kind of got all their albums, and I've been getting really quite into them for the last few months.
They're a good band.
Aye. Radiohead as well is another band I've always liked, but I've just kind of delved into all their albums and listened to a lot of their stuff. So I'd say those two bands are the two bands I've been listening to most for the last few months.
I've tried Radiohead, but I just don't get them. Never had to. Definitely not. Ross, what do you listen to?
I've got a big file in my computer called Funk and Soul 60s, 70s and 80s, and it's just in my phone, and it's all I listen to pretty much.
Well, I can tell you, you would love the jazz, funk, soul, disco show that we've got here on a Friday night.
Oh, I listened to that Craig Charles, on the BBC radio. Well, no, I mean...
I know what you mean. Great show. He does a great show.
He's doing that 10th anniversary at the Buff Club as well. He's going there to DJ that bit. I like that kind of music.
Yeah.
But,
you have to try Friday nights 10 till midnight. We've got where Ian Young does a great jazz, funk, soul, disco, smooth jazz. So and it's just a great program. I mean, I listen to it, and he plays stuff that I haven't heard for such a long time, or he introduces me to something new. I'm actually going to fire that right back at you. Brain Canyon from the album by Culann. Culann are with me in the studios here at 107.2 Irvine Beat FM. And guys, did you actually set out to make a 7-minute classic?
Well, we didn't set out to make a 7-minute classic on that song.
Yeah.
It was about 5 minutes long before we added the end section onto it, just that kind of jammed out in the recording studio when we were up there making the song. But we did kind of want to make a song. Not that one necessarily, but a song that was
kind of epic.
Yeah, that was something kind of meaty for the album. Same way we wanted to do a wee acoustic song as well, and there was a few things we added in.
No, but saying with that section at the end, that was just added right at the last minute. That was literally the night before we went to record it. Greg came up with that wee kind of lead line and that wee kind of rhythmic pattern, and we jammed it all night pretty much. We just thought it was a great way to end the song and a really cool passage to put in.
We were talking off air, and you were telling me how you stayed. There was a house attached to the actual studio. I mean that'd be great. I mean, you get up, you'd be lying in your bed, and you'll think of some chords and just head back to the studio.
There was a few times I actually done that. I mean, the last song on the album, there was no lyrics for it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And kind of D-Day was coming up, and the vocals were getting closer and closer. And you could just go, I mean, it was up in Ardgour, and you look at your window in the morning, and there's Ben Nevis in front of you.
Fantastic.
So, depending on what time we went, one time a year it was covered in snow. We went up in the summer, it was, just deer running about and everything. So you just go for a wee walk, and then just lyrics come like immediately, and you come back in, record them.
Were you actually writing the songs up there?
Certain elements.
Yeah.
You had the bones.
You had the bare bones were there. And of course, looking out the window, I mean, that is a lovely area of Scotland. It definitely would be inspirational.
It's unbelievable. This is a true story. I was recording vocals. I think it was the second time we were up there. Yeah, and I was kind of struggling with a certain kind of part of the song, and we were recording it a few times, and Nick, the engineer's the guy, we'll just do it again. So I'm kind of getting my breath ready to kind of go again. I turned right, and there was a stag just outside the window looking at me.
Oh wow.
It's unbelievable.
That's kind of surreal, isn't it?
I was just kind of staring, and it was staring in. It was a powerful moment, me and the stag. But,
yeah.
No, it's unbelievable, and that's a true story. This big stag looking at me.
I mean, tell the listeners, how long have the band been going as Culann?
Well, over 5 years now.
I had our first gig in the Hack, I don't know, do you mind what year that was?
Yeah.
What was it?
2008.
2008.
Yeah.
That was our first gig as this lineup.
To be fair, we weren't very ambitious, you know, when we started. We just played the gigs because we liked playing gigs, but never really wanted to. I don't think we had any urgency.
Yeah, you were just having fun.
We just loved it. We just loved it. And we still do. Like playing our gigs, there's nothing like it.
And were you writing your own stuff at that time as well?
There was nothing. We've never done covers apart from, you know, if it was like a kind of theme night or like a Christmas gig. We played a few Halloween songs at a Christmas gig. We played a couple of covers, but it's always been our own music, you know.
Yeah.
And we did record, you know, before obviously we recorded the album, but just kind of wee 2 songs or 3 songs here and there. We never ever took ourselves seriously, I don't think.
I mean, I was telling you while Brain Canyon was playing there that I had a girl from Paisley who I worked with on an archaeological dig, and all she talked about was this band Culann.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear.
I mean, and that was 3 years ago.
Aye. So, there you go.
I mean, that's cool.
The word's definitely getting out there, which is brilliant.
Right, PJ, you have a big gig coming up in December at one of Glasgow's finest venues. I mean, you played one of the finest venues not that long ago, probably the finest. You played the Barlands.
We did indeed, a couple of weeks ago, yep.
Enjoyable?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm only going to talk about the positive.
Yes.
Yeah, and to play the Barlands is unbelievable. You know, definitely a dream of mine to play the Barlands. Probably my favourite venue ever.
Had you been to many gigs there?
I've been to loads of gigs there, you know, and just really brilliant gigs, you know, special gigs.
It's a fantastic atmosphere.
I don't know, I think it's a tradition, the whole place, you know. It's not just like a, you know, venue that's been purpose built to have gigs, you know, the whole ballroom style thing that's been there for so long, and I don't know, you can kind of feel that in the room.
It's a great part of Glasgow as well.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah.
The east end of the bar it's great to be.
I mean, we keep hearing stories that they want to redevelop that whole area and they want to demolish the whole Barland. They can't do that.
No. It wouldn't be the same.
It's a very iconic building with the kind of neon sign above it.
That's half the charm, mate, is just the grit of it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Done it up, it just wouldn't be the same.
No, it wouldn't be the same. It's like I used to go to the Glasgow Apollo, which usually was far too young to remember, and that's the way it was. The Glasgow Apollo was a dump, but
brilliant dump.
It was a brilliant dump.
Yeah, it was your dump.
Yep, it was my dump, so it was. I was at the very first gig at the Barlands.
Right.
That would have been Simple Minds.
Okay,
way back in. They recorded the video there, wasn't it that? But they did. The first big gig was probably December 1983. That was Simple Minds.
So was it a dance hall right up until then?
It was a dance hall, yeah, but it had lain empty for a long time.
All right.
And they just decided to start having gigs again.
It was a good idea.
Oh, definitely a great venue.
Yeah, it's top class. It's top class.
But you're going to be playing one of the finest smaller venues in Glasgow. In fact, if not the finest, smallest venue, you're going to be playing King Tut's. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, well, we're headlining King Tut's on the 28th of December, so it'll be our second time headlining it there, which is it's kind of hard to believe still that we keep getting asked back, but it's amazing.
That's great.
You know, we've supported some brilliant bands in there, like had some amazing nights as a support act.
Yeah.
But to be asked back, I think this is even more special than last time. Last time we had a thing, we had an album to release, and I kind of felt that, you know, I was kind of pestering them, saying, "Oh, do you want to please let us release our album at King Tut's?" You know, and they gave us it, which was brilliant. But this time it's just kind of off our own merit. We've been having a really good year, and it's a case of we'll kind of reward you with a show there, which is amazing. and get some brilliant support bands on the night as well. So it's going to be a great night.
So you're basically you'll be having a good farewell to 2013.
Definitely. I don't think there's any. I mean, I don't know any other way we could have done it. A headline at King Tut's on the 20th of December. It's ideal.
Well, this guy sitting here is really looking forward to it. It'll be excellent. So it will. Anyway, guys, very disorganised here, so on. Anyway, 2013, the album out, you've done the tour, and you've had so many good reviews about the album and your gigs. People are tipping the band for bigger things. How do you as a band deal with all that? All people heaping praise. I'm sitting here praising the album, people are writing about it, giving good reviews online. How do you deal with all that?
I think it's a new experience for us. The whole thing is a new experience. So we just take it in a stride, really. There's nobody getting big-headed about it.
No.
We to be honest, it's a privilege for us, for people to sit and listen to music, enjoy it.
Yeah.
And to come and review the gigs or review the album and enjoy it. It's amazing to hear and to see. But no, I don't think anyone will get carried away. There's still a lot of hard work to do.
Yeah.
And the tours we've done, that was our second kind of Scottish tour just there. And the shows are getting a wee bit busier. And there's more buzz and kind of hype around it. So we just need to keep doing that.
It's a gradual thing, isn't it?
Absolutely, aye.
But the band are definitely in a good place just now.
Well, I think we think so. We're in a good kind of standpoint, definitely.
So 2014, what's going to happen for the band then?
I think we want to release something again.
Whether another album, EP, something like that?
Maybe an EP. There's no set in stone plans. We'd like to release something. We'd like to try and get involved in more festivals, and actively apply to play festivals this year. We played Tidy, which was another amazing experience, to go over there. We closed one of the tents on this Sunday night.
Fantastic.
It was a brilliant experience, going over there for, to play for people that had never heard of you before and enjoy you. Buying t-shirts and CDs and stuff. It's top class. So
the sound that you guys have got will definitely suit the festival scene, I think.
Well, I mean, with good feedback, from a lot of people there, and I think they wanted. Tidy it's obviously predominantly Scottish music, and it was all Scottish music.
Yeah.
But I think they wanted something a wee bit heavier, but maybe with a kind of Scottish influence.
And I think that's where your album comes in.
Yeah. Well, hopefully there is that kind of theme, and people can hear that.
Is that the kind of sound you've always had?
No.
I don't think so.
I just coming from it, because I kind of joined just a wee bit after PJ and Greg and Sean, and had a kind of punk influence, I would say, a wee bit more than when I came in. Not that's anything to do with me, but it's kind of developed into something else.
The music has evolved.
Yes.
It's mature, I think.
There's more to it now, if there's keys in it or whatever, and other things, and a lot more vocal parts, and it's a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
I mean, Sean, do you think Tea in the Park? I think you'd love to play that.
Oh, definitely love to play Tea in the Park, but it's a matter of getting there. It's a hard nut to crack.
How do a band get into the festival scene? Apart from an envelope full of cash to someone.
I think that might be the right course to go. I couldn't tell you.
I think it's who you know. That's what it comes down to. Getting the attention of someone that's involved with it, and I think that's the main thing, to be honest.
If there's anyone out there that wants to get to know us, that can get us on Tea in the Park, we want to speak to them, call any time.
I think you need to be active at that moment as well, when bands are doing well at that moment. It doesn't matter, maybe 6 months, a year before, maybe they're quiet, but in the lead up, to when you submit your stuff, you need to be kind of doing something. You need to be kind of promoting yourselves and doing the right thing to get picked. I would say. So it needs to be. It's all kind of. It has to be in the right moment, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it must be frightening.